I have a feeling that you might not understand that every different soil type, cocoa, traditional soil, native soil, and or even just a hydro Hugo block need to be fed differently. They need to be watered differently. If you understand that, then you're in the top 20% of growers. So for the rest of the 80% of you, let's talk about that real quick. Cocoa is coconut core husk that's shredded, okay? It has a totally different cation exchange capacity, which means how it's gonna take up and utilize those nutrients in the soil and how it's gonna hold and release water, okay? So you're gonna end up feeding a little more often and watering a little more often with cocoa. With soil, you're gonna have a lot of different components and carbon and sometimes a little bit of wood bark and a little bit of perlite and lava rock, and that's gonna hold water a little bit better, and it's gonna make sure that your feed can last longer over time, okay? Now, when you move to a Hugo block or something that's like a hydroponic soil media, they work great for growing plants fast and roots fast, but that means you're gonna be watering more often probably because the water's not being held in that block as often, okay? So you're gonna be drip feeding water more frequently. It doesn't have to be more water, like 5 gallons at a time, but you're gonna consistently be watering it more often. If you're doing that, that means you need to have dilute amounts of fertilizer being dripped all the time into that plant. So totally different strategy than the soil, right? Where we can mix our fertilizer in before, we can water 2 or 3 times a week if it's not hot, and we'd be fine. It's forgiving. When it comes to cocoa, you're gonna be watering probably every day. You're gonna feed twice as often as the soil. When it comes to the hydroponic medium, you're gonna be feeding at all times throughout the day, and you're gonna be drip feeding the water to them. So you have to know that whatever the instructions say on the back of the bottle for feeding, you have to look at the medium that you're growing in. If you don't do that, you're gonna kill your plants from overfeeding or overwatering or underwatering. And that can happen very quickly if you're not an expert in those areas. So follow us for more information.